Hey, this is the physics unit test 2023, or possibly future years. Um, this is the read aloud version. So here we go. You're going to enter your last name and your first name, what hour you have me for science. Question number 1. 3 vehicles are traveling at the same speed in the same direction on a highway, shown in the diagram below. If the position of the front of the white van is negative 21 meters, what is the point of reference? A, the front of the red car, B, the front of the black car, C, the back of the black car, D, the middle of the white van. Number 2, Michael is doing an experiment. He wants to drop a bowling ball and a stuffed bear out the window of a tall building. Under what conditions would they have the same acceleration? A, if they had the same mass, B, if they had the same weight, C, if there was no air resistance, D, if there was no gravitational force. Number 3, which of the following stores the most gravitational potential energy? A, a system with a 1 kilogram book, B, a system with a 20 kilogram rock, C, a system with a 50 kilogram person, D, a system with a 5 kilogram bowling ball. Number 4, for forces acting in opposite directions, the net force is found by A, adding the forces, B, dividing the forces, C, subtracting the forces, D, multiplying the forces. 5, electric forces are A, attractive contact forces between charged particles, B, repulsive non-contact forces between uncharged particles, C, attractive or repulsive contact forces between charged particles, or D, attractive or repulsive non-contact forces between charged particles. 8, the magnetic force between poles are blank when the poles are opposite and blank when the poles are similar. A, strongest and weakest, B, weakest, strongest, C, attractive, repulsive, D, repulsive, attractive. 7, which of the following is acceleration caused by Earth's gravity? A, 5 meters per second squared, B, 9 meters per second squared, C, 15 meters per second squared, or D, 20 meters per second squared. 8, speed is a rate that describes A, the distance an object moves over time, B, an object's change in direction over time, C, the difference in distance between two objects, D, the distance in direction in which an object moves. 9, when force is exerted on one object by another and they both move in the same direction, energy is A, added to the second object, B, subtracted from the second object, C, halved because there are two objects, D, doubled because there are two objects. 10, in science, force refers to A, a moving object, B, the way the objects interact, C, a push or pull of an object, D, a description of an object's movement. 11, why doesn't a feather fall at the same rate as an apple? A, feathers are too light to be affected by gravitational forces. B, gravitational forces affect different objects in different ways. C, air resistance reduces an object's downward acceleration and affects objects differently. D, air resistance increases an object's downward acceleration and affects objects differently. 12, which of the following describe the difference between speed and velocity? A, speed describes an object's distance and direction, while velocity describes an object's distance. B, speed describes an object's direction, while velocity describes an object's distance and direction. C, speed describes an object's distance, while velocity describes an object's distance and direction. D, speed describes an object's distance and direction, while velocity describes an object's direction. 13, which of the following is not a component of Newton's first law of motion? A, an object at rest stays at rest. B, an object in motion stays in motion. C, an object in motion has a constant velocity unless acted on by a balanced force. D, an object in motion has a constant velocity unless acted by an unbalanced force. 14, the net force on an object that is at rest, A, is always 0 newtons. B, changes depending on the location of the object. C is the result of an unbalanced force acting on the object. D depends on the balanced forces acting on the object. 15. Which is used to measure the strength of a force? A kilowatt, B megajoule, C Newton, D Pascal. 16. What determines the amount of potential energy in a system? A, the position of the object in the system. B, the type of forces interacting in the system. C, how long the system has been in existence. D, how likely it is that the object in the system will interact. A, reference frame. A can depend on an individual's point of view. B, can only be established by an object in motion. C, cannot be used to describe multiple objects in motion. D, is the same no matter the location of the object being described. 18. Different strengths of forces can be modeled using A, arrows of different lengths, B, scales that measure different forces, C, a table of different numerical values, D, a graph of different numerical values. 19. What two factors determine the strength of gravitational force between objects? A, mass and speed, B, mass and distance, C, speed and distance, D, acceleration and distance. 20. A bicyclist rides their bike down a hill and gains speed. Which of the following is not constant? A, the hill, B, the bike, C, the bicyclist, D, the bike's speed. 21. If 4 dogs pull a sled with a net force of 100 newtons, what will be the net force most likely be if 8 dogs pull the sled? A, 25 newtons, B, 50 newtons, C, 100 newtons, D, 200 newtons. An object's weight measures, it's number 22, A, the amount of matter in an object, B, the amount of gravitational force on an object, C, the location of an object in a gravitational field, D, the distance between an object and the center of Earth. 23. An object mass measures A, the amount of matter in an object, B, the amount of gravitational force on an object, C, the location of an object in a gravitational field, D, the distance between an object and the center of the Earth. 24. Friction is a force that works blank of an object's motion. A, regardless, B, in support, C, in the same direction, D, in the opposite direction. 25. Both the sun and moon exert gravitational force on the waters of Earth. This creates the tides we're familiar with. Look at the diagram below. Which of the following best explains why the moon has a greater effect on the ocean tides than the sun? So notice where the position of the moon is and the sun. A, the moon is denser than the sun. B, the moon is closer to the Earth than the sun is. C, the moon has a lot more mass than the sun. D, the moon has greater acceleration than the sun. 26. A scientist using a very precise scale finds that a backpack full of heavy scientific textbooks weighs less on the top of a high mountain than it does at sea level. What gravitational principle is this phenomenon still illustrating? A, the gravitational force on Earth pulls objects towards the center of the Earth. B, an object's acceleration is equal to the force on an object divided by its mass. C, the gravitational force between two objects depends on the distance between them. D, the gravitational force between two objects depends on the mass of the two objects. 27. Juan is sitting at the top of a slide about to slide down. What forms of energy are most relevant to his position? A, kinetic energy only. B, potential energy only. C, both kinetic and potential energy. Or D, neither kinetic nor potential energy. 28. Potential and kinetic energy are important to a roller coaster experience. Study the model of the roller coaster below. At which point in the track do the cars have the most kinetic energy? A, at the top of the hill, B, the top of the small hill, C, at the bottom of the big hill, D, on the downhill slope of the first hill. 29. To practice their ice skating routine, a male skater and female skater start by facing each other as shown. We did this in TCI, by the way. The first move in the routine requires the male skater to push the female skater backwards. Based on Newton's third law, which sentence best explains what will occur? A, the skaters will exert equal force on each other and neither will move. B, when the male skater exerts a force on the female skater, she will skate backwards. C, when the female skater exerts a force back on the male skater, only he will skate backwards. D, when the male skater exerts a force on the female skater, she will exert the same force back on him, pushing them both backwards. 30. If you dribble a basketball on a court, it returns to your hand even though you've pushed it away from you. Which of the following statements explains why the ball doesn't stay on the ground? A, gravity is not strong enough to keep the ball near the ground. B, the ground pushes the ball back towards you harder than you pushed it away. C, the ground pushes the ball back with the same force that the ball pushes the ground. D, the ball has enough recoil in it so that the force used to push the ball down is multiplied. 31. Diane and Ben are at the supermarket, or just at the market, picking up some groceries. They're both pushing the shopping cart in the same direction. Diane is pushing with 43 newtons of force. Ben is pushing with 32 newtons of force. What is the net force of the shopping cart? A, 11 newtons, B, 32 newtons, C, 43 newtons, D, 75 newtons. 32 is a repeat. Oh, nope, I'm sorry, 32. Diane and Ben are at the market picking up some groceries. They're both pushing the shopping cart in the same direction until Ben sees an item he wants to buy and pulls on the shopping cart with the force of 30 newtons. If Diane continues to push on the shopping cart in the other direction with the force of 43 newtons, what would the net force of the shopping cart be? A, 13 newtons, B, 30 newtons, C, 43 newtons, D, 77 newtons. 33. Your friend places a magnet on the table that states that magnets only have attractive forces. You disagree, saying that magnets have attractive and repulsive forces. To show your friend you place another magnet on the table as shown below. Nothing happens. What should you do to convince your friend of your claim? A, nothing, your friend is right. B, turn the second magnet around. C, move the magnets closer together. Or D, turn the second magnet around and move them closer. 34. Which of the following describes gravitational force? A, contact repulsive. B, contact attractive. 3, non-contact repulsive. D, non-contact attractive. 35. Gravitational potential energy depends on which two factors? A, a decrease in mass causes an increase in kinetic energy. B, velocity and mass. C, mass and distance. D, speed and distance. 36. What is the speed of a ball that moves 20 meters in 4 seconds? A, 20 meters per second. B, 4 meters per second. C, 5 meters per second. D, 6 meters per second. 37. What's the average acceleration of a car with the starting velocity of 0 meters per second that accelerates to 9 meters per second in 3 seconds? A, 3 meters per second. B, 3 meters per second squared. C, 9 meters per second. D, 9 meters per second squared. 38. Which of the following is not a form of acceleration? A, speed increasing. B, speed decreasing. C, change in direction. D, constant speed. 39. Using Newton's second law of motion, force equals mass times acceleration, calculate the force of a 10 kilogram object being accelerated 2 meters per second squared. A, 20 newtons. B, 5 newtons. 6, 20 kilograms. C, 20 kilograms. D, 5 kilograms. And finally, number 40. A car is traveling 75 kilometers per hour east. This is an example of A, speed, B, velocity, C, momentum, D, force.